Across Canada, it is institutionalized. It is under the laws of Canada that if you are a Native child on reserve, you do not have the same rights that a non-Native kid has. That is systemic. It's not an accident. It's not a lazy-ass politician in Ottawa. This is how things are done in this country. Last year, there was $122 million taken out of the federal budgets for building schools for Native children, and it was spent elsewhere. Over the last 5 years, $570 million that could have been building schools for First Nation children is being spent elsewhere. That would be illegal in any provincial jurisdiction, but it's considered perfectly okay for the federal government of Canada to do that to Native children. So that's the systemic fight we're up against. But when Minister Strahl announced, he actually didn't even bother to announce he was canceling the school, they just walked away from the negotiations. The children in Attawapiskat heard that, and they held a demonstration in the snow in -40, 400 kilometers from the nearest media. And the only people there were local people who took pictures and sent them out. Those pictures launched a campaign that has been in every school in this country. The Students Helping Students campaign has become the largest youth-driven child's rights movement in Canadian history. That's a fact. The youth leaders from Attawapiskat have invigorated youth across Canada because young people know that this is not just and this cannot stand. Not in this day, not in any day. But when faced with injustice and the injustice that is happening on reserves across this country, these youth leaders and the youth from Attawapiskat stood up and said, enough is enough. And they have become the voice and the face for all our children all across Northern Canada who are being denied their basic rights. So I'm so proud of the youth leaders of Attawapiskat. They've inspired me. They are going to inspire you. I want to introduce you to Shannen and Serena Koostachin.
Hello. Just testing. Welcome, everybody. Hello. Wachiek. My name is Shannen Koostachin, and I've done this before, speaking on behalf of the younger students of Attawapiskat with the New School campaign. I lived in Attawapiskat for almost my whole life, and but I recently moved to New Liskeard for a proper education. And what I mean about proper education is I had to go away from home. And I also had to just leave my home and my family. And, well, I've been going to school in portables for 8 straight years now. And as Charlie said, that a real school has been contaminated 30 years ago, and we were replaced in portables. And we were stuck in them ever since. You know, it's still sad to hear that INAC hasn't done anything for us to this day. Northern Indian Affairs hasn't done anything for us to this day. So I asked myself, why aren't they doing anything at all? Aren't they supposed to be acting like governments? Well, it sure doesn't look like it to me. Those younger students are still thinking that those portables are real schools. Poor scattered buildings. Having to walk back and forth just to get to gym computers, libraries, also having to fetch their breakfast. I am very upset. Minister Straw needs to get serious and do something about it. It has already been 8 years for me, Minister Straw. Where am I now? I am now attending in New Liskard to Miskimane District Secondary High School, away from home, family, and friends. You know, every day I would have to go home because at times I would get homesick. And when they have to go, I can't hang up. Because every time I hang up, I get that cold feeling that I'm on my own. But I have to put my heart aside and put my head into what I have to accomplish to be in a proper school and finish what I have to do. But this time, I'm not going to put my heart aside. I'm going to put my heart and my head into this because those younger students are still thinking that those schools are just real schools. Those portables are real schools. And when I am at school, I'm walking through those hallways thinking how lucky I am to be in a proper school. But I also thought about the younger students back home. About 2 years ago, my classmates and I had to go to Parliament Hill to politely ask for a new school. And Minister Straw went on with his excuses saying that they didn't have enough money. And then I looked at his fancy office. And then I said, I wished my classroom looked like this. Went on with his excuses again. We left confused and disappointed. But before we left, I looked at him straight in the eye once more, and I told him, we are not going to quit. We're not going to give up until we are giving a new school. This school campaign is growing, I told him. It's never going to stop. We're not going to give up. And then I told him, well, I said, and like I said, Minister Straw shouldn't be saying that we don't have health conditions in our portables until he has walked into our moccasins and sees this for himself. Thank you, amigüech.
Hello, Wachiak Miswe. Hello, everyone. My name is Serena Koostachin, and I am here on behalf of children of Attawapasket. As you may have heard, our old school has been contaminated by an oil spill 30 years ago, and since then, which caused it to shut down. And since then, we've been asking, year after year, we've been asking for a new school. Nothing has happened yet. I've made speeches before, since grade 7, and honestly, it's starting to get frustrating for me. This is my second year schooling down south. It is also my last year of high school. And if I had to compare my old high school with the high school I'm attending now, There really is a major difference. The schools we have back home are far behind in everything they do. The kids think that's okay, but to my concern, that's not. It has gotten so bad for some of us that my parents had to send my sister and I down just for more proper education. We miss back home, yes, and we get homesick a lot. But overall, I consider us to be the fortunate ones. But our brothers and sisters are still back there. They're still back there doing things like what every other student should do, is going to school. But what they don't know is that the things they learn are not highly leveled as like the other schools. And let me ask you something. What did they ever do? What did they ever do to deserve this? They're just kids starting their lives, and as the way I see it, it's not off to a very good start. Instead of leading into successful lives, they could lead into other things like drugs, alcohol, and even getting pregnant early. And then what? They're stuck. I don't want that to be the future of the children in Attawapiskat. I want them to lead on successful lives, to be known by their culture and traditions, and to live on their dreams. There's already too much discrimination happening against the Aboriginal people. If you want us to pursue our dreams, then make it happen. Thank you all.